Hello, everyone. Welcome to our Spiritual Spotlight series. Today, I am joined by Samantha Kozuch. She is a visionary creator of the Maniscripting Journal, which is a disruptive viral brand known for its manifestation life design journal and cult following on social media. She does a lot of different things, so we're just going to jump right in. Samantha, thank you so much for coming on the Spiritual Spotlight series. I'm so happy you're here.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to dive in.
I just want to ask you this. So, you're the visionary creator of the Manuscripting Journal, a manifestation life design journal that has guided a cult following on social media. Can you maybe share the inspiration behind its creation and how it has disrupted the personal development industry?
Oh, yes. So I ended up creating this journal. Like this business and company was never part of my life plan. Wasn't part
Wow.
of it. I have a whole decade of entrepreneurship experience, but all in the online space. I was everything from model actor back in the day, feels like I have the lifetime now, to then became a social influencer before influencers were even a thing, to then being a social media coach because people wanted to know how to be an influencer
Yeah.
because I'd done that. And then from there, it turned into a business coach because people would then ask me, like, hey, how did you do all those previous things? Right. So I had a big community revolving already around coaching, teaching people how to build businesses, make money, all those sorts of things. And then when the pandemic hit, I just started sharing my morning, like my personal morning routine, how to keep me focused on my goals, how to keep my mind right, throughout a time period where, people were panicking, losing
Yeah.
jobs, losing income, weren't sure what to do, all of those sorts of things. So I was really just sharing my personal things that I did from a place of just helping people. And then slowly but surely, people started asking me because I was sharing journaling techniques
Hmm.
and journaling prompts and all of that. And people thought, like, hey, do you have a PDF download with all of these things? They're really helping me. And in that moment, after getting that question quite a few times, because, being a business coach, everyone thinks, oh, you have a freebie, a download, something, right,
So
to give
true.
them. Right. So I was like, wait a minute, this is something here. And I had spent so much time already in the online space. I was like, what I do, even what I do with my morning journaling, right? Like it's in a physical notebook.
Right.
I didn't want it to be another PDF download that gets lost in the abyss, right? I was like, no, this is something really special. And I then also realized not everyone does this type of stuff. And it kind of shocked me because I'd been doing it since I was about 25, 26, when I had hit my quote unquote rock bottom and I wanted to change my life. And I
Right.
started implementing these things for myself and it started changing things. And that's why it became so second nature that I just thought everyone did it. So from there, that's when I received the download to, like, hey, you need to pivot and create this journal. It has to be a physical product. And from there, so it's been 3 years now, created it. I just pressed go on it, like super, like just went into the unknown. I didn't know how to do anything from
Yeah.
manufacturing, shipping, anything, right? I just jumped straight in. And it was like the best thing that I ever did because with this journal, not only is it a daily journal, but it also has a workbook with it to help you get super clear on your goals. And how we've kind of disrupted the kind of industry is we are a journal where it's not like you just get the journal and you're on your own. I've built an entire community around it, a course that goes with it, things that really help you get the started, but also you have somewhere to go to get help and support while you're processing all the things that are maybe don't feel so good. Or you have a group of people that can celebrate you and cheer you on when things are going great. Because what I found for myself back in my mid 20s is when I was in the crap of it all, like I had no one to turn to. Like didn't have anyone to turn to with my family or friends. Like no one understood it. And I felt so alone. And I was all like, okay, if I create this journal, I don't want the person that goes through this experience to be alone. So that's how we kind of differentiate ourselves from other journals out there, that you can just buy online or at the store or whatever. Like you don't know the founder, you don't know the group, there's no community aspect. So that's how I've kind of like changed the game of going through this self-development work with just goal setting, manifestation, all of that stuff to help the end user on their journey.
I love that. So let me ask you this. As we know, it's captivated a lot of followers. So, what do you think sets it apart from other manifestation tools, and how do you believe it resonates so deeply with your audience?
That's such a great question. So with this method, like there's so many methods out there,
So
right? You just
true. I mean,
drop
honestly, I am a planner
yeah.
obsessed person, and I cannot tell you how many journals I have tried. I mean,
Mhm.
I probably have like 30 in my,
Yeah.
so please go ahead and tell me, because I've been checking this out and I definitely want to get it.
Yeah. So, you can go on TikTok and within the first 2 seconds of searching manifestation technique, you could come across like 50 videos telling you 50 different things to do. And what I kind of noticed about all of those is they kind of seem like, yes, they probably work or whatever, but they also seemed very trendy and kind of
Mm,
gimmicky. And it's not something you can do for the long term.
right.
What we do with this journal is when you go through the series of questions to help you get started, like, okay, first you got to get that clarity, right? It's all about getting clear on what you want and not being wishy-washy with it. Because a lot of the methods out there, you just kind of write down, okay, what do you want in this moment? And you kind of just work on that for a day and then you kind of forget about it and
Right.
then just don't continue it. But with this journal, you're getting super focused on those goals and desires that you have, and then we also blend it in with the gratitude practice, a mantra, but then also listing out 3 action steps you can take that day in order to help you get closer to those goals. Because when it comes to manifesting, and we've kind of used the term manifestation journal for this journal, especially when we started 3 years ago, because that was a trendy, hot topic
Mm,
and it hooks people in. I want to manifest my dream life, but actually once you get in this community and what's inside the journal and the classes that we have, it's all self-development. It's all mindset. So that's why this process actually works and gets you results, because it's taking what you desire, but also helps you create an action plan that helps you stay accountable to actually do the things that's going to help you, quote unquote, manifest that end goal. So that's why like we are different.
yeah.
And that's why it actually works. Because a lot of these other methods, you just write down your goals and dreams. But do you actually go into the next step of, okay, how do you do that?
Right.
Because most people have the misconception of, oh my gosh, if I just write this down 3 times and 6 times and 9 times or 10 times or whatever, that's all I have to do.
No.
And then they wonder why manifestation doesn't work, because that's not how it works. We actually have to take action on
Yeah.
that thing that we desire. And that's why the journal works, because it helps you lay out your plan to get it done.
I think that's such a perfect thing. It's almost like a life design journal. Like,
Yes.
let me design your life, but really go out beyond the vision that you currently have, and let's give you the steps to get there.
Yes.
Like, I
Yes.
think that's such a beautiful thing. Like, it's amazing. And you're right. There is, oh, all you have to do is send out the universe and it will return.
Right.
Like, guys, no, that's not how manifestation works. Like, you've got to tap
Mhm.
into law of vibration, the law of attraction. Like, you've got to know how it works and then
Exactly.
implement
Yes.
it. And then,
Yes. Yes.
and I like the idea of, I mean, I'm somebody, I like journaling. I mean, I like a physical product. You are so right in how you said earlier that it shouldn't be online. It shouldn't be something that's downloaded. And I appreciate the fact that you've put it out into the marketplace as a physical product. I love
Yes.
that. It's so cool.
Mhm.
I mean, because you think about it, I'm sorry, I'm going off topic here, because I can't tell you how many even online journals I've signed up for. And I don't print them out. I don't do
No.
them. It's like you
Mm.
just spent money on something that you're never going to look at it again.
Exactly.
That's so cool.
Exactly. Mhm.
So let me ask you this. So building a multi-million dollar company is a remarkable achievement. How has your personal journey of transformation contributed to your approach in empowering individuals to script their dreams into reality?
My gosh, it's every day. Every day is helping me grow. Let me tell you, it has not been an easy journey, because when I started this company, I was nowhere close to having a multi-million dollar
Yeah.
company. Not at all. Like, hitting multiple 6 figures in a year was like where the
Amazing.
max was, right?
Yeah.
And it's like when you start on this journey, and when I started this company, I wasn't sure if it was going to be a success or failure. I just knew that I had to try. So I didn't know how fast it would grow, which as great as it did grow fast, right? Like we're 3 years in now.
Right.
And my personal journey with that is like every single day I had to grow. I had to go through different lessons and experiences, and it sucked. Like it's hard. There are so many days that I wanted to just throw my computer out the window and just shut it all down. So many days. But I knew that as a founder of an actual company, it's like I had to go through these different lessons and experiences, because as the company grew, like I had to know how to handle it, or I had to fix the issues that we had in a small capacity to then, be able to grow and scale. So my self-development is like super fast. It was super fast paced over the last 3 years. Like it was, it was a lot of different trials and errors to go through. So I say it's been quick and fast. And the one thing that I learned is I just really had to be open and flexible. And even though I had a certain goal, and this, even before this company, I already kind of had this mentality, but I really had to know and understand, hey, you can have this plan, but it doesn't mean by doing those exact steps, it's going to get you there. There's going to be different bumps and dips and all these different things, right? So being really flexible with it, I think, was my biggest lesson over the last few years, and just always keeping my eyes on the bigger picture. Like for me, it's funny. It's like talking about this type of revenue. Like it's exciting. It's so great when it comes down to a numbers perspective, but honestly, it doesn't necessarily excite me as much as knowing that, holy shit, there is X amount of journals out there that accumulates to having a multi-million-dollar company. Because I know the power that's in these journals and the lives that are changing because of this book. It's just mind-blowing. So whenever I'm in it, whenever I'm feeling like, oh gosh, like this sucks, this is hard, this is terrible, like, any of these like lower level frequency emotions, I just keep it in the mind like, no, Sam, you got to keep going, because there are more women out there that you have to help. And if you stop now, imagine all of the lives that you won't be able to impact. And the same goes for like now, 3 years in, I'm like, holy crap, what if I never took that action to starting this journal? How many lives would either have not changed? Maybe they've, used something else, but it's just wild to think about, like just by us taking this one action can result in such a positive impact too.
It's a ripple effect of just you trusting your intuition, trusting the download that you received, putting it out, trusting that people will resonate with it. And now you have, millions of people that are inspired by it. Like that is amazing. That's an amazing impact on the world as a whole, especially in this day and age with what's going on. Like it's beautiful. So let me ask you this. You've inspired audiences worldwide through online workshops and speaking engagements. Can you tell us about a particularly transformative moment or success story from someone who applied your manifestation techniques?
Oh my gosh, there's
so
like
many. I know.
So many. There is so many. I think, there's a huge online community, thousands of women in our community. I've spoken at, in rooms of like, this is now just post-COVID, because we launched during COVID. So there weren't any in-person events for quite a while. So I've spoken in rooms of 50 to 100 women, but I think the biggest and best transformations is I also host 2 retreats in Sedona twice a year, one in the spring, one in the fall, for our community. And it's very small. It's like up to 8 people max.
Wow.
I have to tell
very
you,
intimate.
Very intimate.
Yeah.
I have to tell you, I have the chills just thinking about this right now, but those retreats, that experience of being one-on-one with 8 women is just unlike anything else. Those transformations. And I have women, I'm not even joking, I'll have women like ranging from 20s all the way up to 60 attend this retreat. So the age range is super broad, right? And every single woman, no matter what age, has a transformation, to the point where they're just like literally crying almost every day out of gratitude for like, oh my gosh, I would not have had this breakthrough. I would have never had this if like you didn't start the journal, have the community, host a retreat. And just that, like those have been the biggest transformations. And I'm talking about like deep generational healing, self-healing with just inner trauma, stuff that's stored, like those transformations, just because they are so firsthand, like I'm right there with them in it to experience that. That has been the most powerful. And of course, like, I have girls in our community raving every single day about, something that they manifested or how they changed their life in this way and how grateful they are. And, all those different things. There's an abundance of those, that's literally what drives me every single day to keep going. I'm so excited about it.
And
Is
also just with your community, it's healing in and of itself of other members that are posting these amazing stories. And it's, it's very much if I can do it, you can do it. Like,
yes,
let me show you. And I would imagine everyone's like, oh, amazing, congratulations. And then
yes,
they get all excited and they go back to their journals.
yes,
It's like creating this like
yeah.
momentum of energy that's just
Mhm.
always cycling because more and more people are coming in and more people are sharing their stories.
Yes,
I'm so excited.
exactly. Yeah, exactly.
So let me, so one thing, so beyond your role as a self-development and mindset coach, you host the Money, Mindset, and Manicures podcast.
Mhm.
What topics do you explore on your podcast, and what wisdom or insights can listeners gain from tuning in?
Yeah, so the podcast is something that I started now, gosh, maybe 3 months, a little over 3 months ago now.
Nice.
And what's crazy is, I mean, I have been on every single platform since the beginning of platform time.
Right. And you know how to do it. Yeah.
And podcasting was the one that I had the most resistance to. And I
Interesting.
finally I bought all my podcasting gear 2 years ago, and I didn't launch it until a few months ago. And it was because I knew of how much of a more intimate space it is. And
Mm,
it's such a different experience. Like on this podcast, and the reason it's called Money, Mindset, and Manicures and not the Maniscripting podcast or Samantha
right.
Kozuch podcast or something like that, is because we dive into topics that literally cover, honestly, I don't want to say anything and everything, but it really is for the woman that just wants to elevate their lives. So that's why we do talk about money, and we talk about a lot of self-development.
Right.
And the manicures part is just like all the other stuff in between for women that, if you want a high vibe podcast that you're going to get tangible tips and steps to take away from every episode. And every episode is a different theme, whether it's
Right.
money, entrepreneurship, business. Like I have women from all walks of life in my community. So I really wanted to make it a place where, hey, come and get what you need. Go through the titles.
Right.
Listen to the one that speaks to you. So that's the type of stuff that's in there. And I'm very raw and authentic on these episodes. Like I talk about things on this episodes that you're not going to hear me talk about on Instagram stories or even on sometimes maybe in my community, but it's really a place where I am super vulnerable. It's also so scary to be that vulnerable, because you just
Yeah.
don't know how people are going to react. Like I put some episodes out and I have my podcast editor put them out there and I'm just like, I don't want to hear like any feedback. Like, I don't even want to know. Like, did they like it? I don't know. Don't care. Like it's out there in the world. I knew I was supposed to release it and
Right.
we're just going to put that there. So,
I mean, I agree with you in a podcast template. It is different and it is a more vulnerable space. Like even for myself, I've touched on so many different topics that I normally wouldn't. You're right. I wouldn't post
mhm.
on Facebook. I wouldn't post on Instagram. It's almost like an unfiltered version of myself. It's
Yes.
just like, hey, listen, you want to talk about this? Let's just jam it out. Like
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I love that you're so vulnerable and
Mhm.
just really listen, guys, the sky's the gamut and just pick out a topic you like and let's vibe with it.
Yeah,
I like it.
exactly. And I'm sure you've experienced this, but I so far, luckily, I don't know, haven't gotten any negative feedback. In fact, the more raw and vulnerable that I have been, the more feedback I've gotten, like in the
Yeah.
DMs and stuff from women saying, thank you. Thank you for speaking on this. Like, I feel like you're my sister. Like, wow, like
Oh,
I can't believe someone else is going through this or
yeah.
has this experience or something like that. So at the end of the day, I just know, and I know you probably feel the same way. It's like whatever is coming through me to come out, it's meant to be for someone. And my mentality is if it helps at least one person, then I've done my job.
Absolutely. Yeah, I will say that I am grateful for the same. I have not had any negative feedback about the podcast. Now, my YouTube shorts, on the other hand,
Oh my gosh, that's a whole nother world, right? Like, yes, YouTube, those those
oh
keyboard
my.
warriors, right? That's
Oh
what they
yeah.
are.
I love that you post a video of a beautiful crystal such as this, and somebody tells you to stab yourself in the eye with a pair of scissors.
What?
Thank you. I
Unreal.
will make sure to do that later
Oh
today.
my
I
gosh,
appreciate
yeah.
your input.
Right?
stupid. I'm sorry. But you're right.
So much.
100%. I'm having a moment. You can tell.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. So personal transformation often involves overcoming challenges and setbacks. Can you maybe share a personal story of a significant obstacle you faced on your journey and how did you navigate through it?
Yeah. Well, probably more towards the beginning of my journey. And what really set off my full transformation is when I was in my mid-20s, I was actually arrested for something really stupid and really bad. And what's interesting is in that moment, like I just felt like my entire world fell apart. Like, getting arrested, like
How could it
that's so
not?
bad. You're a
Yeah.
terrible person. Like your life is
Shame.
ruined,
Yeah.
shame, all of that, right? And even though I felt that way for quite a while, I also used that as a tool to be like, okay, Sam, like you are not the girl that gets arrested. Like you are not this girl. Like wake the fuck up. Like really, like just
Right.
wake
Yeah.
up. How do you want your life to look? What do you actually want to be doing? What is it? What type of friends do you want? Like what type of lifestyle do you want? Do you want this to keep happening over and over? No. So at that point, I used that to really tap into personal development and mindset work during a time which I'm in my mid 30s now. So this was over 10 years ago. But at that point in time, Instagram wasn't the way that it is today. There was no life coaches and self-development. The second we open up social media now, we have a tool to
Yes.
out to, which is so amazing for, younger generations today. But back then you had to buy Tony Robbins CDs or something like that, right? It wasn't
Yeah.
accessible.
Yeah. You're right.
So I kind of had to start diving into my own homework. And it started with actually watching The Secret. It's the first time I watched The Secret. And that was
Same.
like aha moment, like, wait, I can create my reality. Like I'm in charge of this. Like what? Like it was like this mind-blowing concept. And that's what got me hooked on, okay, well, what is like law of attraction, which went
Yeah.
to manifestation, went to journaling, went to meditating, and led me to this whole new world of thinking. And that's what really took me on this route, which now literally from that time, those are all the tools that I now have in the
Yeah.
Maniscripting journal 10 years later, which is just wild.
I love that. That's
Yeah.
amazing. Before I ask you the last question, if anyone is interested in purchasing the Manuscripting Journal or getting in touch with you, what is the best place to go to?
Best place is maniscripting.com. Or if you're interested in just like learning more about me, I'm very real as well on my Instagram. I show a lot of behind the scenes of life, business, all of that stuff, which is just my full name, Samantha Kozuch.
I love that. So your mission is to empower women to step into their greatness. If you had one piece of advice for the listeners, what would it be for anyone that is trying to further empower their spiritual journey?
This is my favorite. And my honest, raw answer is get in tune with yourself by really taking the time and space to get clear on what it is that you want and desire. Because what I know to be true is like when I had this desire to change my life, and when I knew like I was meant for more, I was meant for better, all of that, I first had to get really clear on what it is that I wanted.
Yeah.
And once you're super clear on what it is that you want, and you start then taking action on those things, whether it is decluttering your house, whether it is changing out the friend group, whether it is moving to a new city or, taking a new job or whatever, slowly but surely, like by implementing these different things, your life's going to shift for you. And then how spirituality comes in is just like really believing in yourself and trusting this process. Because in the beginning, it's not fun. It's not glamorous. It's not easy. In fact, it feels like your whole world is falling apart. And that's all a part of the process. And the one reminder that I give when you're stepping into this work is if you feel like things are going wrong or falling apart and you just feel like, what the hell? I want to say to you, congratulations, good job, because that means the universe, God, whatever it is that you believe in, they're just shifting around the things so that the new can come in. Right
Absolutely.
now, with wherever you are at, you are unable to bring in newness because there's no room for it. It's already taken up by what you already have. So we have to learn to be able to purge, not just physically, but also with our energy, our time, our schedules, all of that. And that means things may be removed, people, places, jobs, all of that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But by trusting the process, like knowing that what you desire is at the end of the tunnel, that's what's going to get you through.
That is a wonderful piece of advice, Samantha. I want to thank you so, so much for coming on the Spiritual Spotlight series. I definitely look forward to talking to you again in the future.
Thank you so much.